We go. Happy Saturday, everybody. Wall Street Jesus here. Saturday Sweep Series coming off a fantastic week in the markets. If you are bullish, or were bullish, I should say, a lot to go over. Flow-wise, sentiment is something definitely we need to keep an eye on going into next week. We'll talk about some of the nice winners. I know a lot of you who attend this webinar regularly were involved in. We talked during the week. A lot of members are on this webinar, obviously. And we'll go over some of the names that really didn't participate that had seen some decent action. There's one group in particular that might be of interest. So we'll talk about that a little. We'll review the Friday activity. A couple decent looking bets out there on Friday, but a lot of green. And you guys know when things are bright green out there, it's tough for me to get excited. So again, we'll discuss, and then eventually I'll take some questions from you guys. Maybe you guys have some names you're keeping an eye on, groups you may be keeping an eye on for any flow coming into the sectors or names in coming days or weeks. All right, just a couple of things I want to get out of the way early on here because I tend to forget. Then I get the questions on Twitter afterwards, and I no one to blame but myself because I forget to get around to it. But anything we discuss here, I mean, the bread and butter of this webinar, what we talk about week in, week out, I refer to as wise guy activity. That's basically Wall Street Jesus slang for aggressive options activity. That's what I do. That's what we do. We look at the flow day in, day out, and we try to cherry pick the most aggressive buying in the options market via the smart money out there. Okay. And then try to paint the picture, come up with a game plan of how we're looking, how we might want to take advantage of that. There's a ton of call buying, put buying all day, every day. Okay. You can literally just wake up one morning, open up the flow, and you will see call buying and put buying there no matter what. 99.9% of it, in my opinion, is useless. Absolutely useless. Not meaning you can't find a winner here and there out of it, but as far as any consistency, you're not going anywhere. Okay. So again, I talk about experience a lot. I've been around the block. I'm in this, I'm playing this game on the professional side, 20 years plus now. So I've seen enough. And, it's one of the few things that I've stuck with throughout my career. Again, two things: sentiment, the market, feast off emotions out there, especially of the retail traders, and the smart money. And there's nothing better than to get a gauge on the smart money in real time than the options market. You got insiders buying and selling. You get that information after the fact. You get David Tepper takes a stake in Micron. That information is months old. Okay. The only place where you're going to see real-time activity by the sharp money out there, and again, it's more speculative in a sense, right? They're speculating in the options market, but the only place you're going to find real-time intel like that is in the options market. So that's why, even as an equities trader, primarily throughout my whole career, I'm an equities trader. That's why I focus on the flow, and it's got nothing to do with trading options. I think it's a powerful tool for sentiment, long-term equity positioning, scalping, day trading, whatever style it may be that you trade futures, right? Sentiment is a powerful tool when it comes to options flow. So no matter what style or what instrument you're trading, I think you can find some value in wise guy activity. But again, it's up to you to be able to focus on just that and try to block out the rest of the noise around you. And that's the story of this game. All right. So we talked talk about that a lot throughout these webinars. If you have any questions, you can go to wallstreetjesus.com. There's a strategies tab right here on the top. You click on that. Very easy to read, short blogs on everything I discuss, from as simple as what is a sweeper, how to use this information, how I've seen professional traders utilize this information, different ways to use it, and so on. Okay, so you'll get a lot of the answers here. If you have an interest and you want to check out what we do, we offer a 3-day trial with no credit card. Okay, and you'll get a decent feel of how we process this information. Depending on what 3 days you happen to sign up for the trial, there may be big winners out of it. There may be nothing over the course of those 3 days, right? If you came in last week, you probably knocked the cover off the ball off the 3-day trial. Next week may be different, likely will be different. So it's not whether you're winning or losing off the information, is trying to get an idea of why we focus on this day in, day out. All right, and then after that, $225, you get 50% off the first month. That's the whole premium package with private Twitter included. All right, so this is private Twitter. This is included in the membership, in the premium package. If you're interested in just private Twitter, also from the wallstreetjesus.com site, you could go to products, private Twitter, and you can just access the private Twitter. Another way to get a feel for the flow. If 3-day trial is not enough, you can't really get a feel for things. That's why we did that. Not only do some of the premium members find private Twitter extremely handy and useful, but it's almost like a trial in a sense. It's all the real-time activity, okay? Some commentary, sentiment posts, and all the stuff. The main difference is me on audio video explaining my feel off the activity coming in, and traders who are trading off that activity around you, okay? But we offer the private Twitter by itself for $59.99 a month. All right. Also, before I forget, Lucci is doing that master course, okay? He does this sporadically. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just if he's in the mood, he decides to do it. So he's offering this. I think there's a 33% discount before 7:30 Monday if you sign up. Let me put this link in there because I got a couple questions about this off the other one. Hold on. All right. Make sure you got that link. If not, you can hit myself or Lucci up on Twitter and grab the link that way. But basically, Lucci uses wise guy activity solely for his trading style purpose. You understand? Like, the way he trades is completely different the way I trade than some of you may trade. But what he goes over in this course that I think you'll find useful is that tape reading aspect. Okay. And it doesn't always line up. There are a lot of times where, there may be flow, the tape may not line up that way. Okay. Or there may be no flow and the tape is showing nothing as well. But there are those select opportunities where we see call sweepers coming into weakness, and what Lucci's seeing on the tape on the option side lines up with it, and that's where real special things can happen. So like everything else, if you're looking for a trade every single hour out of it, you might not find it useful. But as far as finding those sweet spots, those select spots where you like to swing a hammer, that's where I think you'll find real value in this course, okay? And also getting an understanding. If you're trading options exclusively, this is probably where you want to start and get a general understanding of how options work, buyers and sellers. It's important. A lot of us out there, especially me, I'd be the first to admit it. When it comes to options in general, I haven't even allowed my brain to go that far. That's one of the reasons I day trade equity exclusively, because I'm comfortable. I've done it throughout my whole career. When I swing trade options and my approach is I'm putting in what I'm willing to lose premium wise. If you guys are actively trading options, there's a lot of crap out there that you need to know. You need to know. Sometimes you'll be right on a decision where you think the stock is going higher, but because of some of the implied volatility and stuff out there, the option's not going higher. And there's nothing more frustrating. Trust me, there's nothing more frustrating. So if you're interested in understanding the tape side, getting deep as far as the option market's concerned, this course is probably for you. So you got the link there. You can check it out. I think you have till Monday. Oh, yeah. See here, Monday, 7:30. You get 33% off there. All right. Let's get into the fun stuff here. All right. First off, I just wanted to, it's good and bad news in the sense. What we were thinking of doing with the Saturday Sweep series, the webinar, we used to do periods where we'd come in for 6 weeks, 6 consecutive weeks. We'd do the Saturday Sweep series. Then we'd take a break for a couple months, then come back and do it. What we're probably leaning to now, and I'll keep you guys updated, is if you're a member of the Steam Room or private Twitter, we're going to continue to do it every Saturday. Okay, so you will have access to it. We're going to get a little more in depth, and this way I can focus on questions more from members, because it's kind of not right. You know what I mean? You got members here. Sometimes I'm skipping over their questions. I don't even know who they are, to be honest. They buy different handles on here. So what we were thinking of doing is maybe keeping the Saturday Sweep series open for everybody once a month. And every Saturday, if you're a member of the Steam Room or private Twitter, we can focus on just members. Okay. And then down the line, there'll be clusters where it's open to everybody. We'll do a 4-week stretch for the month and something like that. We're still talking about it. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. We'll keep you up to date. All right. All right. So here's what we all wanted to see, right? Let's rewind. Okay. Because actually, what are we even hitting up SPY? There's no reason to even look at the SPY based off last week. Let's talk about tech. Okay. And what we were seeing. After the market lows, after the bull missiles came in, after were the first signs of real wise guy buying into weakness, we had a powerful rally, right? And now the question was, what happens here, right? We've gone a little too far, too stretched. Do we come back, test the lows? Does the flow dry up, maybe switch over to the put side? So there were a couple things we really needed to see out of flow. Okay, and a couple things we needed to see out of sentiment as well, because sentiment here was extremely bearish. As soon as we started to see flow, that was our trigger. Okay, now the flow continued to be bullish, even though it was drying up a bit. But the negative thing was sentiment started to go from bearish to bullish. Okay, so we needed the tree to get right to shake. We needed to keep those bulls honest for this rally to continue. And we got not much, but we got a pullback. And the beauty of it was there was news behind it. I love when there's news behind the pullback. For example, tariffs, rates, right? Volatility products blowing up. You'll see they'll find a different excuse when the market's in this type of environment. They'll find a different excuse to pound the table on, pound it into the riffraff head, right? And create this Armageddon type feel. Cohn resigning. That was the last one. Made a big deal of, right? And how it just, you see how quickly we forget about some of the initial excuses, right? What happened to rates? That was such a big deal. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on CNBC, keep your eye on, those rates. Keep your eye on those rates. They have to be on your screen every day religiously. I mean, it's like nobody even is paying attention anymore. It was so important then, nobody's even paying attention anymore. And that's a good example of noise. Okay, that's a good example of noise. When everybody's eyeballs are on something and they're paying attention to something, usually it means nothing. All right, then we went to the tariff thing, and that was a whole big deal. Oh my God, the economy is going to collapse, blah, 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 you know, and then, went to Cohen resign, and then it goes on and on and on. All right, but the good thing about it was it washed out that bullish sentiment that got felt a little bit better with the market bouncing. Now you started to hear the retest again. Oh, we gotta retest lows, and boy, if we break it with that, you started to hear that really start to, come to a head there. Okay. But the interesting thing, the most interesting thing, the most fascinating thing that we saw, if you remember, in the last webinar, was the bread and butter, the beauty, like they worship tech, right? Riff Raff worships tech. They love tech. We used to joke around. Remember, if it's not tech or Bitcoin, they don't want to know about it. All of a sudden, they had no interest in it. I still, to this right now, to this minute, every time I mention that, I can't even believe it. I can't get over it. Because you rarely will see that. That's usually the last spot where sentiment really starts to roll over. Okay? But for some reason, the things we were looking at, right, last week wasn't one fluke chart. It was several things, from the NASDAQ sentiment indicator to the COT data, you know what I mean, to Bloomberg. I retweeted on my personal Twitter a couple links. Hedge funds, retail, the most underweight tech they've been in a long, long time. So when you see that type of sentiment, if you, God forbid, see flow start to get aggressive in tech, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. Because listen, I get it. I know why the riffraff like tech. They move. They're exciting to trade. I get it. I love tech. There's nothing better than when flow, initial activity starts coming into tech. There's nothing better. NASDAQ names in general, high beta names. All right. And when you see the flow start to get aggressive, and not only the retail side, the hedge fund side is not involved, you could see it happening. You could see it happening. And what I mean by it is, I mean they have to chase. They cannot watch these tech names go higher without them involved. They can't do it. One, the funds can't do it because you look like an idiot if you got Micron going parabolic, Netflix going parabolic, Microsoft breaking out, Intel breaking out, and you're not long of these names, right? I know from just being a broker, managing client money, anytime those big tech names were flying high, whether I liked them or not, I had to bring it to my clients. Because if they asked me why didn't I, no matter what excuse, if it was legitimate or not that I gave them, I'd find that they'll ACAT their account out the next week to a broker who was pounding the table on them. Again, right or wrong. So they have to show these names on their books. They have to when they're going higher. Okay? And that's where you get this explosion. All right? And then what you start to look for, and it doesn't mean that the end of the rally is here, but it just means that sweet spot trade, that setup. I hate to use the word over, but came to fruition, right? And what I mean by that is you start looking for signs that they officially are coming back in. All right. Now, we could obviously see it just off the price action, right? This week, you could just see it. All right. But more importantly, and the flow, right? We're seeing just Microsoft sweepers, one after the other, tripping over each other to get there. They're sweeping Netflix up a gazillion % this year. because they need exposure to those names. So even though we saw it out of the price and the flow, you want it to confirm, you want to see it out, officially out of some of the other stuff. And we did. Okay, we did. And one of the signs, or the proof of that, I should say, where the hell am I here? Hold on a second. Twitter. Where the hell is the Steam? Oh, I got to open it maybe. Here's the proof. I tweeted this out. This came out on Friday afternoon, I think, from Bloomberg. So there it is. Bulls are back. Investors of XLK pour more than $615 million into the fund. Bink. All right. So again, not that the trade is that the rally is over per se, but just that sweet spot to get all excited about. If you remember, that's what we were talking about last week, right? I was telling you guys that for me, I hate to get excited about these names when they're already in the midst of a rally, because I know riffraff is still all over them. That wasn't the case. All right. So now is the time where you take a step back, especially in these names, and you allow them to breathe. Okay. If you're holding positions, this is what we were talking with members, towards the end of the week. If, let's say, you have, I don't know, I'm just giving an example, Microsoft July's, maybe you lock some of that in and you leave some, you're not worried, you're not looking to be too tactical as far as being active trading. Okay. Maybe you get a dip, you can buy it back type of thing. All right. But anything, if you were strictly playing for that trade, playing off the flow for that trade, if you didn't do a Friday, you have to do some profit taking. Okay, you have to. Because, again, you were right. And as a trader, okay, I'm not talking about, again, trend traders, investors. That's a whole different ball game. You're riding 200-day moving averages. You're leaving it alone, la-di-da-di-da. I'm talking about if you're an active trader, and that's what a lot of you do in the options market. Okay, you're not investing in the option market. So get that out of your head. You have to lock some in because you were right and you deserve to get paid. Maybe you roll some out, whatever the case may be, but you have to lock some in. Okay, me personally, you guys know I'm not a big swing trader. I was talking to before the webinar a little bit. I had quite a few swing positions on. Okay, and Thursday and Friday, I sold a lot of stuff. Whatever full position I'm holding on to, one, I either have July's or, there's, it's in a name that didn't participate. But it's not tech, obviously. It's in a different group. Okay. And maybe now, remember when I think it was last week, remember when we said, now at least we don't have to worry about rotation, okay? Because over here, if you remember, we said for this rally to continue, we need them to rotate. We need them to rotate into all the other stuff that didn't participate. And then when we got this pull, with that sentiment pull, we were talking last week, we don't need rotation. We don't have to look for rotation now this week. Tech is the spot. They can tattoo tech for all we care. That's the place to be. Now we're getting to the point here again where we're going to need some real rotation going on. All right, maybe there was some signs of it Friday. They were buying some energy names. I mean, for Christ's sake, with this energy crap. But, I want to see some other stuff. Let them hit biotech. Anything tied to housing hasn't even blinked yet. There were a couple names I wanted to share with you guys. Well, I'll share them now, two in particular. The DHI, if you remember, caught some big time action. Yeah, this thing continued to go lower, approaching back to where they hit it, but no rally there. That EXP, these were July's, hasn't done a thing. So maybe we start to see them get aggressive in some of these things. All right, maybe. Another option would be the market just comes in, takes a breather. Maybe Trump does something else, you know, and creates a little bit of fear out there where, they keep the tech guys honest. But, you look across the board, tech looks a lot different than everything else. Tech exploded this week, exploded. And some of these names, God, I wish, we all say this, right? I wish I could just rewind again, just a week ago, knowing what we knew. Man, some of these names, we talked about the Micron, because that was the first. WDC, you know how long we've been waiting for Flow to set up in this thing, tangled in this mess with that Toshiba news for God knows how long? Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Here's another one. LRCX. I like this thing too. She can move. Explosion. And the thing was, they hit it here, if you guys remember. Then they started rolling up and out late into this rally because a couple members killed this off this initial activity. Scored in this in weeklies. And then you had this breather again. This is what hardly happened last year. This little breather that gave you that secondary entry. That's what I loved about this move. It gave you that other opportunity. And then bink. All of them, guys. STZ, by the way. STX, and it wasn't all tech. There was some missiles and other names that exploded as well, but tech was the juice. STX, another one, just higher every single day, it seems. You had the big ones, the Microsoft. It was almost too obvious. Microsoft, flow, then this, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, relentless over here. Like they knew a move to highs was coming. No fear. Microsoft was up 30 cents, sweep it. Microsoft down 35 cents, market looks like rolling over, sweep it. Relentless. And that's the definition of aggressive. That's aggressive. Intel, all of them. All of them. ADSK, that earnings were ruined. Otherwise, that would have been a monster. Listen, a couple guys rolled the dice into earnings. You know me, I can't blame them. Because you almost felt like, earnings was going to ruin it. You almost knew earnings was going to ruin it. If you didn't take a shot into earnings, you would never be able to touch this thing again. Because they bombed the living daylights out of this. The living daylights out of it. Win. Oh, what a beauty. These guys in Win, it's unbelievable. It really is. Anybody who's been a Steam Room member knows exactly what I'm talking about. When these guys fire and win, there's no reason to even ask questions. There really isn't. There's no reason to ask questions. And when they fire the way they did in this thing, it was only a matter of when. In my honest opinion, it was only a matter of when. Because they were sticking with May. Then we started to see some out of the money, cheap spec lotto type stuff coming in. We were like, maybe there's a chatter of a buyout or something. What the hell is going on? But this guy came back and hit these Mays every single time this stock went red. Every time the stock went red, there were a couple days. Remember, it looked like it was ready to roll over. I'll be honest with you. I was like, wow, this thing's not acting right. And then, boop, May sweeper, 2 million. This was one thing. You talk about going to the well. we were trading this thing, day trading it. People were flipping it the next day. People were holding on to Mace, trading around it. You don't get the luxury of something like this sitting here long enough, you know, and having all that action around it. And you guys, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, so, you know, look at the sizes. Yeah, started from 2.9. Now, there were a couple of smaller lot sweepers that aren't even on here. Oh, no, this is my favorite sweeper, this guy right here. I thought he wasn't on here, maybe. This was the guy I saw, and I said, that's it. I don't think we have anything to worry about. Look what he did there. The 155s, 161 was the stock at the time. And that came after the stock already bounced. Could be the same guy for all we know. Right here, hitting the 170s for 5 million. 5. And then paying up when the stock was $3 higher here, sweeping. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. The other one you guys I see are talking about action-wise, this, did you ever see this as far as dollar amount? Did you ever see anything like this before? STZ? And again, there were a couple smaller sweepers not even on here. They started with April's. Here's where they started, 2.6. If you can see on the bottom of the screen there. April 240s, the stock was 211.72, 1.6 million. Then here, 214, March 220s, 214, the stock was there, 800 grand. Then another 4 million. Here's where they started annihilating these Julys. And then again, here was, for me, the confirmation. Right? Because you know why? Those bolts, those lightning bolts right there. Even though I think it was this guy here. There was April sweepers that came in around that, confirming that block. But this was the confirmation right here on that STZ. Oh, I better stop with this pen because I'm going to create a lot of damage here. But you see all this action? You see all this action here? It's just absurd. And they were picking their spots, you know what I mean? Certain names, and just destroying them. And this is a great company too, by the way. So they utilize this dip, this consolidation to eat it up. And Julys, well, there were some Aprils, but Julys. I actually had Julys and sold them for, how could I not sell this thing? I know it's probably the dumb move, you know, with all that time left. I should have probably rolled or did something. But, you know, this is an eruption. Maybe I get a dip, I can reevaluate. But honestly, I'm looking for new names now because that's the beauty of it. You know, if this rally is going to continue, or for dip or rotation or whatever the case may be, there's going to be there's a ton of names out there. A ton of names out there. I see a couple of you guys mentioning Google. I didn't even trade it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I think, honestly, a couple of guys in the room, this was their biggest winner all week. You know, because I guess it's a name they love to trade. Even with the win, the STZ, the Google, nuts. Nuts. And the action in Google, let me pull up the private Twitter because I'll show you if private Twitter works. Priceline, anybody was interested in Priceline? Even that caught a bet. Priceline never catches wise guy activity. Never, ever, 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 ever. Take a good look at this bet because you probably won't see another Priceline bet for another 9 to 12 months. That was on the 5th. Check, what are those things worth now? What are those things worth? The 2100 March calls, he paid 8 and change. Anybody have any idea what those things are worth? It's got to be ridiculous. Let's see. 80? They're worth 80, Cooler Aid? Seriously? Probably, right? It's got to be. Yeah, don't knock yourself out. If you're around the thing, I could actually look on my thing too. Here's the Google action. And listen, I hate, believe me, you probably don't believe me, but I hate going over winners like this. Yeah, if you participated in these things, we're having fun together. If you didn't, I'm not trying to rub salt in your wounds, trust me. It's just, when you get things lining up and you have a week like this, if this doesn't excite you in this game, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, Google, I didn't make $1 off it, and it's still ridiculous to look at. So this is the Google. Somebody was asking, was there Google action, I think. So initially you had those March down here, this guy. So that was on the 7th. Google 2100s for March last traded for $75. The 2100s? You mean Priceline? What are you talking Google? So Google, what was the date? This was the 5th. Maria saying the BKNG 2100s closed at 72 by 77. So you're right, Cooler Aid, right around there. Right around there. 72.80 by 77.80. How crazy is that? So here are the Googles for whoever was asking. March 7th, they hit the March 11, 17 and a halves. So that was March 7th. They bought it. Oh, right here. I think that was that earlier in the day. Let me see just to double check. No, that was late day. And then they hit it the next day again. All in all, here was all the action here. Here's the repeat buyer. March 1135s, 17. The 11, yeah, on March 23rd, 1120s. Here was all the pileup. This was the open interest changes. Ridiculous, just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, and these are some of the names that a lot of people, names that they like to trade, that they own. But some of the semis, like that WDC amazes me because, this thing, you guys know, you probably were looking at this name, right? How long have we been looking at this name? Eventually it's going to bust out. It's caught up in this thing. It's going to bust out. And there was one really good looking bet. Let me try to, you see how lost I get on these things with navigating? Hold on. It was the July guy. Where was he? Oh, April guy. No, July. Here he is. Right here. Let me blow this up a little here. Oh, that's better, right? You guys can see that now. Here's the guy for WDC. I think this guy closed and rolled. Friday. So July 100s when the stock was 85. Look at that. That's a big sweep right there. Big sweep. 600 bananas, aggressive. And that was right around here. What was the date? I'm just curious. Because I remember, you want to know why I didn't swing this? Because I was interested. July 100, that was on 216. It came into strength. It came on the stock was up big, and I didn't want to chase it. Look at this, right here. This was it right here. Right here. Unreal. Oh boy. So yeah, there was a this is recorded, Michael. This is recorded. All these are recorded. I'll end up tweeting it out, or you can get it off the YouTube, Sang Lucci YouTube channel. Cold WDC, I'm almost positive I saw July 100s close. Now I could be wrong. We'll check the open interest on Monday, the changes. But I think he rolled. Let me tell you, Friday there was a lot of rolling in tech. It was tough to keep up with, a lot. You had Microsoft. There was a ton of action, but probably a good amount of it rolled. The Intels, all of them that caught a ton of Micron, even though it looked like Micron started to catch some cleaner action late in the day. Micron was actually down on Friday, down 60 cents after rallying $12. This Micron's interesting. You're going to have, you got earnings ahead. I don't see this thing coming in much. It could come in, right? It could come in. But I don't see it coming in much. They'll probably support it up to earnings. So you could look, if you want to actively trade it, you could look into weakness, but yeah, I'm not crazy about it. But this Micron flow is absurd. Mike, what are you asking for members? Yes. Everything's recorded. Every webinar we do is recorded, even the member-only webinars. Annoyance of the week was that fake out in Tesla end of the day run, Tesla sweep, end of the day run trading sideways. Yeah, again, the only thing I hold some hope out. I don't know if he's still long though. The problem is Cooler Raid is that Tesla September sweeper. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. See, here's the problem with action in these big guys. And you probably heard me tell you this in the past, okay? But there's a reason I like to repeat it, because it can keep you out of trouble. These names, you see like Google, Amazon, Tesla, they don't catch action like this all the time. You understand? Like Tesla has seen some activity, right? And I'll give you an idea of what they've been playing. Is this? Yeah, here. Okay. This is nonsense. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like this here, if you're looking to day trade the name, in my opinion, and it's at a spot where you think it may bounce, it's red, that's what this is for. Okay, that's what this is for. This is nothing compared to that September sweep in Tesla. Where the hell is it? I can't find it on Twitter. It's not shocking. Story of a life on Twitter. But you guys know, remember that September sweeper, that missile? That was a missile? You know, that was the order. So we might not see another order like that in Tesla for a while. Yeah, that's just the way these things go, you know? And that's why when they're around, you have to fire. Now, I get it. You like to trade these names a lot. And a lot of you trade them successfully off flow. But I just want to make the point, like this type of order is nothing compared to, you know, the aggressive size that we see that I get excited about. I'll give you another example, like Amazon, okay? There's flow in Amazon from time to time, small weeklies, might catch a block, stuff like that. But you don't hear me really get excited about it. You know, the last exciting order in Amazon, you guys know about, right? That was that Bazooka Joe, we were calling it. And that's a long time ago now. But yeah, that's the goods. You know, that's the goods. Again, all the rest of the flow can be traded. You know, if you're looking at something on your end and using it as an indicator, but just strictly off flow, you want to try to stick with the real action. You know, if you're relying just off flow, you got to stick with the real action. Okay. And the real action, again, it's obvious. You know, win was real action. I make the statement like, for me, it's not whether the win's going to work out or not. That's not even on my mind, to be honest, as crazy as that may sound. If I'm going to lose money swing trading, I want to lose my money on this type of activity. I have no problem taking an L off action like this. No problem. Because I know, you know, from past experience, that if I play enough of these things, there are a hell of a lot more winners than losers. And there's some gigantic winners that come out of it. You know, so I have no problem. Like I said, I don't even think about taking, oh, will this work out? I don't know, sexual harassment. I don't, we were talking about that. I forgot who it was, one of you guys out there. We were talking about that, similar to like EA, Win, where there's the negative headlines out there, but real action, buying it. You try not to get too wrapped up in the noise because the action's telling you something different. That's the edge out of this stuff. That's the edge where Win looks like it's a dead dog ready to roll over. That's all I kept hearing on Twitter. Every time I posted a May Monster back for more, I get these rebuttals from the trolls on Twitter. It's not the same Win, this is a whole different Win now. It's a dead money. But meanwhile, this May guy is buying the living daylights out of the thing. It's dead money. So I try not to get wrapped up in that stuff. But, here's the tough part, guys. And we talk about this constantly. It's waiting for these type of opportunities. That's the tough part. What you do in the meantime is really more important than trading these things. Because, like, if you traded just these things, right, and you just apply some sort of money management where one loser's not going to wipe out all your winners, I have the confidence that you're gonna be in the green, well in the green when it's all said and done. But the problem is what do you do in the interim? Like, let's say next week now. Let's say there are no bull missiles coming in, but we still see, weekly flow like this. I'm sure we will, right? How do you approach these things? How do you trade these things to not wipe your gains off a Win or an STZ? That's the trick. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And this is why I do what I do, because I had the same issue that I'm telling you guys you're going to find. I'm a degenerate, probably worse than all of you out there. So what I am trying to do now, and I got a little bit of help, so not to lie to you guys, it's a lot easier that way, but I got a little bit of help doing it, is day trading is what I'm focused on intraday, right? And that's what I'm looking to do. And I'm only looking to swing the top shelf activity and nothing else. So I have to try to avoid, getting wrapped up in those weeklies that expire the next day that I think news is coming. You know what I mean? But I got help to keep me away from that, pressing and running the show there. So I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little bit easier. But if you're doing it all yourself, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. But for swing trading purposes, it's about the top shelf action where they keep coming back aggressively, swinging a hammer. Just a good looking action. It looks different than the rest. Cooler Aid's asking, how are the flows in banks? Cooler Aid, the banks are interesting because somebody was asking me this last week. I can't get excited about them, and I'll tell you why. They're bullish. Like Bank of America sees nothing but flow constantly. So you're not going to get that standout flow that we're talking about. And that's okay. You may not be looking for that. But Bank of America, the flow has been and remains extremely bullish. All right. But here, like, for example, one of the members of the Steam Room mentioned to me, and I almost felt frustrated for him. Okay. He was telling me, like, he owns Bank of America, I forgot some other bank and whatever. Okay. And his calls were down on Thursday, I think it was. Okay. And everybody in the room is, doing cartwheels over Win, STZ, Google, and he didn't own any of that action. So for me, like, you have to focus on the goods That's got to be priority one, number one. You know, Bank of America, there's nothing standing out there. I mean, Bank of America has been catching, call sweepers this whole entire move. She dips, more call sweepers there. It has been nonstop. So it might continue to do what it's doing. Maybe you look, again, we mentioned this last week, you look for weakness and you get that snapback trade, that type of thing. But other than that, it's hard off the flow to get a gauge of anything big coming. I will say, like, Wells Fargo caught some size. Looking a little different than the Bank of America. There's some weakness there. But the banks that you guys are interested in, like JP Morgan, these have been bullish for a while. And I think they're in this type of pattern where, choppy grind higher type thing. If that makes any sense. All right, that's my job. I feel like, for members, is that I got to stress if there's anything standing out flow-wise. All right, if the flow is bullish, the name is bullish, and it's been bullish, there's nothing really for me to tell you there. There's nothing for me to stress there. It's bullish. But, like, for example, a win, when it looks like crap and there's big buying going on, or STZ, or any of those names, that's where I feel like I have to stress the point a little bit more. Let's see, what other names you guys are mentioning? Before I go into the names, okay, because I have a tendency of rambling on here, especially when we start talking about some exciting names. Here's what sentiment looks like now, okay? I think this is what you guys should be aware of going into next week. The flow has been ridiculous, all right? We've had missiles. They've all exploded. Now, the problem is going to be shorter-term sentiment. Now, that could easily be fixed with a little cooling off early next week. Let me give you a perfect example. This little pull here, all right, well, it wasn't that little because we still had a lot of volatility going on at the time. But this washed out all this bullish sentiment. Okay, so if there's a little breather or a pull or some news out there, again, that could help and bring it at least down to neutral, where I would feel a lot better holding overnight stuff. Okay, but here's the NASDAQ sentiment thing. Did this update today? So you remember where we were, right? We were looking at. Now, again, we're not at highs, but we're back over that zero line. All right? So this is not saying euphoria in Techland yet, but that signal that any weakness is a huge opportunity, that's gone now. Okay? So right now, this is not telling us much sentiment-wise. Okay? I don't even know if Friday's on this chart. But anyway, it's over zero. So it might be up here somewhere, let's say, hypothetically. All right? Here's some of the stuff off Sentiment Trader I look at. Where's the equity put the call? I got it here too. This is the equity put the call. All right. Oh, no, is it this? It might be, hold on. This is the equity put the call. That was Thursday. All right. So not in the danger zone yet per se, but more strength. We may be there. And again, just a caution sign. These are things you start to see before a pull. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. The markets could rally further from here, let's say into next week, right? Let's say we go gangbusting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There usually, what would happen, there would be a pull that wipes out that whole move. So if you think you could be nimble enough to avoid that, that's totally fine. But for me, from my experience, what I've learned is when you see this type of stuff sentiment-wise, you put the seatbelt on. Nice and easy. You're looking at something to buy, wait for a better entry. Now, it doesn't mean sell everything panic mode. But as far as adding more risk, you be careful. That's what that means. And why? For the simple reason, just like at the lows, everybody's loaded up put side. Okay. Any weakness should be bought, right? Because nobody's long, everybody's long puts, nobody's long calls, everybody's short, nobody's long. Here you got the opposite. If the market wants to catch longs, they can catch them now. They can catch them now. That's the biggest difference. All right, here's another thing. Where's that other chart? Oh, I didn't post it on here. I don't think I did. But here's the squeezometer we look at. Now, this is really, really short term. You know, obviously overheated. Okay, so this, again, a little pullback Monday. This could cool down to neutral. There was I thought there was here's the COT data from cotdata.com, whatever the hell that site is. This is the NASDAQ, dealers, speculators. Remember, that was the thing that lined up with tech. Still there, but, you know, came in a little bit. That's all. Nothing major. I think this is the updated one. I had another one. I can't believe it's not on here. That really showed a good picture of it. Nah. That's all right. But you get, so basically that's what I'm trying to show you guys. Going into next week, a lot of the shorter term stuff is hot. Okay. And for me, that means, you know, start taking some profit, anything you have less time on option wise. You know, limit some of your risk. Anything new you put on, try to keep the size down. You know, because again, you want the ammo when that market comes in. Just like we just saw, you want to be able to have the bullets to fire because that's where the money's made. Right now, at this spot, it gets tougher. All right, here's some of the action here. I see a lot of you guys talking about the action from Friday. This THO activity was ridiculous. Got hot, especially later in the day with those spreads coming in. So here you have, this is like the Winnebago. You guys are probably familiar with Winnebago. So you got a nice pull here. Aside from the move Friday, where it was up, what was it, up 7, 6.5, 6.5. This was a great spot. You know, and here, guys, this is a perfect example of what we need to see. Right here. This is a perfect example. If money starts to rotate into some of this stuff, even for just a trade, we don't need the tech move, what we just saw, right? We just need a bounce, a trade over the next couple of weeks. That's what we need to see. We need to see more action like this THO in these type of names. But this is what they did. This guy, right, early morning, sweeps June 125s, lays big wood, $2 million bet. Then he comes in later in the day, and look at the size of these things. So April 130, 140 call spread. That might have been tied to stock 4,000 times. This one was clean. June 140 by June 160. Huge spreads. And that's really, you can see the stock reaction here. So this is the reaction early morning, okay? Then chopped around throughout the afternoon sideways. And then here is where those spreads came in and closed strong, to say the least. All right, so a name to keep an eye on early next week. I preferably, if you see weakness, I wouldn't chase. I don't think there's any point in chasing any of those things. ABBA, I know it's Baba holding, blah, 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 blah. I like the activity in ABBA so much better than Baba. It's just so much cleaner and easier to read. But I know that, I guess the performance of this thing relies on Baba, right? Primarily? That's the case? I'm sure. let me update the comments here so I can see what the hell you guys are writing. There we go. Hold on. There. Pretty much. Yeah, so, but the ABBA action has been good looking. It always finds size on dips. Every pullback there's been size. This thing's been strong as all hell. And we've been seeing an uptick in activity. Now you've had a little move here, right? Nothing compared to some of the other names, but I would keep an eye on any sort of pullback or dips there. I would try to utilize buying weakness, especially with a hot squeezometer and stuff like that. Here they were playing July 87 and a halves, July 85s. Some of this may roll out some of the March size they had. IPHI, this was an interesting name I traded on Friday. Semi. So this is what this looks like on a daily. It's a semiconductor, bit of a laggard. And here's the action that came in. Small, unusual sweepers in the name. March 30s, short term. And, you know, they're laying decent wood. Not a whole lot of dollar amount, but, you know, this is not a name that catches that type of size. If it does, it's gone. You know what I mean? So a name to keep on your screens, Semi. Again, I wouldn't chase. You know, if you could avoid chasing, if you see a dip, especially if they come after it again, which can easily happen, you know about the name, IPHI, and it's a semi play. PayPal has been seeing some decent action again. Again, nothing crazy, but a little bust out of here, you know? Smaller move compared to some of the others. So there's still a lot of stuff, like I know ADI, I'm just giving you an example of the pattern. You know, there's still some stuff that really didn't bust out. So if we get a little breather in tech, there's still a lot of candidates that really didn't get crazy yet that have been known to get crazy, and PayPal's one of them. But at this point, going into next week, I would try not to chase for a swing. I'd be careful. You know, these are names I would all look on pullbacks. Here was probably the best looking sweep of the day, and I hate to say it. ExxonMobil. I hate to admit it because energy is the biggest pain in the ass, excuse my French, on the face of the earth. But this was the best looking sweeper on the day. Who likes Exxon? Who likes ExxonMobil? Oh God. Anybody? Anybody? Now listen, you guys know me. That it's even music to my ears that I don't like it, right? Here's the problem. It's almost like you're betting on crude, right? You need crude to at least hang in there for you to have a shot on this thing. Shot of any decent move. Now, fine, you may be able to flip it Tuesday for $1, stuff like that. But let me tell you something. A lot of smart money got torched in energy, boy. A lot. Not in just options, in general. Trying to pick a bottom on these things. Now, that being said, options are a beautiful thing. Sometimes they're, you know, the riskiest thing on the face of the earth, and you should be careful. But at certain times, they're a perfect way to play something like this. Why? You put in what you're willing to lose. If you like the ExxonMobil, that's your stop loss. And maybe you catch the bottom. Now, ExxonMobil, there's been blocks before. There's been some call buying. I'm sure a lot of you guys were asking me about certain blocks that went off. This is the best looking sweep in ExxonMobil that I have seen in a bit. And it's, you know, 800 grand, 900 grand. Nothing STZ or win like. But the best looking order, now it's just one order that I've seen in ExxonMobil. Samir is saying the Saudi Aramco IPO got pushed back, so they will keep the production cuts deeper for longer. Bullish for crude. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, crude is tough. Crude is tough. And that's why I hate these energy names, because I feel like just buy, CL, make a play on crude. That's the problem. That's the problem. Like gold miners. It's almost like gold miners. Are you going to find one good-looking gold miner and get long and get really? I learned my lesson with that. I learned my lesson with that. Now, this has been the worst of them. ExxonMobil's been a disaster. But again, you're looking for a trade here, right? And maybe you get a little bit more. But the best way to play it, you're an options player, put in what you're willing to lose. You could wait, see if they hit it again. CVX, they hit a couple times, been moving, looking a little bit better. They hit it again on Friday. Chevron. Schlumberger caught a little bit of action Friday, by the way. I mentioned earlier, there was a little of rotation into energy. Not rotation, but a little bit of attention in the energy names, call-wise. Couple names. The other one that been catching some decent flow, BHGE, and she's been moving. Go figure. Look at this. So that's what I mean. It's a preference thing. I'm clueless. Okay. All I can tell you is whether the order flow is legit or not. My opinion is worthless to you as far as this stock is concerned. Okay. But BHGE been pretty aggressive there. My opinion, probably the most aggressive out of the names, where they came back several times. And, ExxonMobil, again, that's sweeper number one. Maybe they come back. BHGE. Yeah, it's the Baker Hughes GE thingy. Another name that catches action, Hess. You got Elliott involved there. So that's why it catches sweeper activity. They love to sweep Elliott. Love it. So that's a good thing, right? You got a big guy in there supporting the name. But that's it. The smaller spec names, nothing really too exciting that I can remember. But again, how we got to this was ExxonMobil finally catching a good looking sweeper here. Microsoft is Microsoft. This may roll out a position, JAD 100s. There's Microsoft action all over the yard. And KR had had some activity. This is a name that got destroyed. And what were they sweeping in KR? March 23rd, $24 calls. And some March 23.5. Some action there. There was other stuff out there, guys, bigger action, but a lot of it looks like it was rolling out positions. So that's why this list doesn't include some of the bigger orders you may have seen. If you want, mention it to me and to refresh my memory, and we could touch on it. Here. Where is it? Hold on. I post this on private Twitter at the end of the close. Because again, like I said, there's a ton of call buying out there every day, put buying. I just focus on the ones that I think are noteworthy with the type of action I'm looking for. So here's one, RRC, energy name, big block. That was a big block in that name. CHK, that's been seeing some flow. What a dog that thing is. Bank of America, here's that ExxonMobil sweep. The brooms are sweepers. You can see on the right there. AMD, I'm sure some of you could ask me about that action. There's something going on there, an event or something. There's been huge blocks of puts tied to stock. The 12.5 calls traded absurd amount of volume on Friday. Puts were trading I don't know. There must be an event or something. Yeah, I know there's M&A, Maria, there's M&A chatter going on, but IV was juiced. I don't know. Somebody mentioned they're releasing a new product. It almost looks like earnings flow, to be honest. It almost looks like they were going to release earnings or something. So, my opinion, you don't want to fool around with this right now. The best action I've seen there is out in October, by the way. But they're robbing you on the call side anyway, so you don't want to get involved in that. What else do we got here? Facebook, May 185s that traded on the offer. Celgene, that block, 3,400. April 95 calls. Again, a block. Here's that Chevron block. Yeah, so nothing too exciting. The THO was the one where drawers dropped. That was the activity. IPHI, more of a spec look. You know what I mean? If you're looking for that sort of thing. Otherwise, yeah, Thursday into selling was a profit-taking 2-day excursion, in my opinion. Or rolling out, whatever you guys do. What other names? Gilead. Let's see, Cooler Raid. It's been acting better. Yeah, Gilead, not too shabby. Not too shabby. See, Cooler Raid, this is exactly what I'm hoping for. You know, not just Gilead, some names like this. You know, you got some Celgene was bought. That's been a shipwreck. This is tough to chase this now, though. Bristol Myers has had steady action, right? That's looked good. ALXN, those call spreads again traded. You got an event there, right? There's a big thing coming, ALXN. And those spreads, I'm told, capture it perfectly. A couple of you guys told me ALXN, that's what they're playing with those spreads. Yeah, no, not buyout rumors. A binary event, data or something. Anybody know about ALXN? A date as far as data or pending? Data due in June, Ani's saying. Yeah, I think it's a big deal. Yes, Ranchero, there's been buyout chatter a couple times in this thing. But yeah, there was a decent looking sweeper in this name, and these call spreads continue to trade. Let me pull it up for you so you guys can see what they're buying here. But just, you know, it's in June. Be careful. Be careful. Just make sure you don't get stuck in it in a halt and you weren't planning on it. That's where you got to be careful with these things. Here it is. So he's buying the May 130s and selling the July 155s. He's laying out $6. It's a big order right there. Big order. Ranchero is saying it's got room to 140 before the June shit. Yeah, so, you know, and this thing traded a couple times. This, he paid $7.30 and sold the 155s for $2. So see, he continues to play this thing. So yeah, you know, I wouldn't chase this now. I know, I think Bullstruck, a member in the room, is long this name off the sweep, looking for a run up into the data and stuff like that. But again, red days, I would look on red days. Red, learn to buy red. All right, what else? Every time I answer a question, it goes right back to the beginning. Let's see. LLY, haven't seen any action there. You know, maybe this thing can hang around a little bit and we catch a red day with some action. This is what we need, though. You have the right idea. This is what we need. Names like this, man. Names like this. Paul is asking about Boeing. There's been more of the spec type activity in Boeing. They were playing weeklies and stuff like that. Nothing jaw-dropping this week that I remember in Boeing. But has been a nice red to green trade off spec sweepers, that sort of thing. Let's see what I miss here. A couple other names. Let me get some questions too here. I know you looked at the Qs, but look at IWM. Feels like a better sign of market direction. Yeah, I agree. And that's one ETF index, whatever you want to call it, that sometimes I'll make a play on when it catches action. IWM has seen some bullish activity. There was one TNA bet. Every time there's TNA flow, no matter what the size, you got to take a serious look for a spec trade. Here it is. So this was on March 5th, Cooler Aid. He bought weekly 74 calls for 26 cents on TNA. For how much? 26 cents. Wow. So right here, sometimes you get a nice trade of that TNA Ricky, which a lot of you guys know in the room loves that shit. The degenerate Ricky, the Dragon Steamboat. How do I set up the custom channels on your screen? This on the bottom, or are you talking about these? On TC2000, it's under custom channels, but those are just channels. BZUN, I'm glad you brought that up. This I regret too. I didn't buy it. What a piker I am. What a piker I am. This is probably the most bullish bet you're going to see in this name. Doesn't look like much, huh? 500 lot, October 40s. Here's the deets. This is what the deets. 500,000 plus. Sweeps multiple exchanges. Really unusual for this name. Came into weakness, but look at the gap up here. You know what I mean? This is where I'm just not bad. I can't get myself to pull the trigger on stuff like this. I cannot get myself to pull the trigger on it. Anyway, came into this day into red. Could have flipped it already. But yeah, I'm glad you bring it up. That's one I wish I could have back. I didn't fire on that. October's too, if you wanted to take the conservative approach, some time. But that's a significant bet in that BZUN. Let's see, what else we got? Ronchero saying, Jay, when and if rotation starts, is it at all once or, is it all at once? How do you decide when it's actually on? It's pretty obvious, Ronchero. They, like back in the rotation, like we've had a correction this year, so it kind of seems so long ago. But back last year, when they rotate, it's obvious. Like what you'll see is, let's say next week, okay? Let's say market opens up Monday, we're down a little bit, the flow starts off slow, and then we see Bristol Myers catch a sweep. All right, Bristol Myers quick. Then you see Celgene catch a sweep. Then ALXN catches a couple sweepers. Then Gilead action comes in. You understand? You'll see that the best action sticks out, and usually it's in a particular sector when they rotate like that. They're not shy about it. It's a pretty easy read. And if it's not an easy read, then you're trying to force something out of the flow that's not there. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But when they rotate, when there's that aggressive rotation, you'll see it in the flow, Or like I said, all the best action will be, let's say, hypothetically in biotech or the transportation names, which you hate. But you know what I mean? It'll all be there. All the aggressive action will be there. The stuff you'll see that I notice it because the stuff I'm day trading is all in that sector off that action. So, and usually I'm screaming it out besides Ranchero. Usually I'm screaming it out on audio, so you'll be aware of it. What else we got? Noel, kind of what they did in Micron Intel. Yeah, like that's what I was saying. The tech, what they did, the buying that came in, the aggressive buying now. You know, they selectively were buying other stuff, right? STZ is not tech, but the aggressive flow, the sweepers one after another was all tech. Was all tech. You know, Microsoft, Intel, AMAT, Micron. Those Tepper missiles, we wish we could have that one back too, Noel, huh? Talk about nailing a bottom. But you see what I mean with how difficult it is at times, like, and you guys remember, it's easy for me to tell you guys. It's so easy for me to tell you guys. But I'm telling you, from my experience, it's so much harder to do. Like for me to sit here and tell you what you need to do, it's easy. You know, it's easy, but actually putting it to work and in place is so hard to do in this game. Like Micron, I was getting question after question about Micron. Oh, remember that block in Micron? That was a big, yeah, but it wasn't the Tepper sweeper, right? Oh, what about that flow in Micron? Yeah, there was some bullish activity, but it wasn't the Tepper sweeper. And, you know, I said, if you want the trade, you have to wait for signs of that action to come in. Why? We know he's been in it. We know he's playing. He just, for some reason, decided to chill out and not add. And if he does pop up again, talk about a bullish sign, right? From taking a break as this thing consolidates. And you could say it's coincidence or whatever you want to call it, but the market was pushing higher and this thing was dead wood. Well, the market was pushing higher. This started to correct in late November. If you remember, we had that blow off in January. This thing didn't budge. And then all of a sudden, those guys pop up. Look at the candle they pop up into. Look. Boop. Not here, not here, not here, right here. And it feels like it hasn't gone down since. Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, so that's the discipline I try to talk about. And again, for me, waiting around for just that type of activity is impossible if you're watching the market every day. And honestly, you may not want to do that. You know, there's money to be made in other stuff, but you have to make these count. That's the most important thing. You understand? This has to at least 3-4 losers on anything else has to be worth 1 micron it. It can't be an even swap. It can't. That's the point I'm trying to make. You know, you have to treat these differently. And there's nothing wrong with playing the other action because, like I said, there's an edge in the other action. It's just the confidence and the consistency is not there because this is special stuff. This is special stuff. You know, you remember me telling you about that GBT, which, by the way, they've been invisible in. So that's, and coming into an a la Micron setup type thing there. We haven't seen any action in this thing. They just did a secondary. I saw on Friday, or just announced it. I don't know if they did it, but as this thing hangs around here, if you see those sweepers come back in, that's your trigger on this name. That would be your trigger on this name. The longer it chops around, the better. Just like Micron, a lot of pent up energy there. A lot of pent up energy there. Gator is asking, hi Jesus, when a sweep comes in at one strike, is there any point looking at other strikes or months? Or you just, yeah, Gator, that's a great question. Without a doubt. Depending on how or what you're looking, how you're looking to play it. So for example, let's say Micron, okay? They come in with those July sweeps, right? Those are the missiles. That's what you wanted to see. If you're looking to make a play off the momentum from that action, right? You're making a bet that activity is going to create momentum for the buying coming in, get people's attention. You don't need to play July. You know what I mean? So you got to use your judgment there and say, all right, you know what? Instead of July, I'm going to go out to April, and I'm going to look to trade off the momentum. But here's the trick. If you're playing off just the momentum, you can't look for this. You're just looking for that quick trade off the momentum, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it depends on what you're looking to get from that trade. Because in other words, if you're looking to mimic his bet, you're looking for the big move. This happened like this. This is not the norm, right? This is not the norm. So to catch a move like this, you needed time. You needed time. You didn't need it this time, but usually you need time. So if you were playing just off the momentum of the bet, as soon as you get that momentum there, that push, that's something where you gotta take those profits into. So yeah, the answer to your question is you don't have to mimic that line. For crying out loud, I know several guys I've worked with who own the equity in Micron. Don't even own any calls. You know what I mean? Made a play off the equity. Okay, just off indication that those Tepper missiles were coming back in and signs that the big boys were back buying. So that's where, the game plan comes into account. You got to figure out what you're looking for there. Are you looking for that quick short-term trade? If you get it, you got to be willing to take it. If the momentum's running out, you got to be, you know what I mean? You got to be willing to pull the plug, that type of thing. Or the special activity, or the other activity, I wouldn't suggest it, but the special activity, if you're looking to mimic the bet, you want to stick with at least the same month. You don't have to stick with the same strike, at least the same time frame. Home Depot, somebody shouting Home Depot. I haven't seen any action there. Nice little spot, but I haven't seen any action in Home Depot. I saw a little action in Lowe's, but small stuff. Ani saying GBT has data. Oh, yeah, that's right. Big stuff, right? Second quarter 18. So second quarter 18. Maybe they'll sweep it up prior and you get a move. No action there, though. Quiet. Dead. John saying NCLH looks great. That's a name they sweep a lot. The cruise lines. All of them look like this, or? Yeah. RCL. There's so much stuff out there that has been ignored. So much stuff. NXTI, what's that? You got the wrong symbol, I think, Cooler Raid. Oh, are you talking NKTR, the animal? What an animal. All we need is one of these in our lifetime. What a beast. What a beast. What's that tech name that a lot of you guys were getting frustrated in the room? They kept sweeping, kept going higher and higher. Hold on, it hit the board. Let me find it. See the move? That's another tech move. That was ridiculous. That's it. Tom shouted it out first guess. NTNX. My goodness. What is up with this thing? Just for the record, Action came in, and then I remember Action coming in here. I was like, you can't chase this. And then Action came in here. I'm like, you can't chase this. Forget about it. Forget it. But yeah, these I have a tough time with. You know, if they come in somewhere around here, yeah, you got a shot here into this. Yeah, when you got strength like this in the market, that's where you could get away with it. But crazy. Etsy, that's had some play. That's been another machine. Splunk, how's that Splunk doing? There's so many. Look at these things. It doesn't even look like we're in a correction with some of these things. Doesn't even look like we were in a correction. CRM, I didn't mention that today. How didn't I mention that all day? You want to talk about good-looking sweeper activity? My God. My God. CRM off, I should say, the earnings gap up. I think, yeah, the stock gapped up on earnings, faded off the highs. They annihilated it in June goals. Monster sweeper. Monster. Clean as a whistle. No rolling, no nothing. Just flat out buying. Look at this. Look at this sweep here. Look at this. $1 million sweep, June's. Look at this one. 4 million. This is the one. Henry saying for the masterclass, do we need TC2000? No. Lucci doesn't even look at a chart. Lucci's strictly reading the tape. That's what he does. So he's basically, to simplify it, and it's not that simple, he's looking at buyers and sellers. So here's like the thing that I mentioned this on the Tuesday webinar. Like Lucci does so well, and I honestly, he should do it more, but for some reason the kid doesn't like the long side of the market. He's got screws loose. But like we'll see sweeper activity come into the name, and he'll see buyers line up and sellers disappear. And he'll scream it out. And you see it. You know, you could see it come into play in the price action. Now, again, it's not every single day you're going to find that. You know, just like playing just the bull missiles that I keep stressing to you guys, you know, it's like waiting around for those opportunities. It's not that easy. But the two things you would take away from the Lucci course, one is understanding the option world, the market makers, and all that shit, how they're structured to rob you and how to avoid that. And two, how it can line up with flow and create those special situations. Like the last one, as far as an overall market that it lined up with, was back into the lows with the Micron missiles. Market was selling all day. Flow looked like crap. Lucci was shorting everything he could get his hands on. And then all of a sudden, Micron missiles came in. Intel buying, you know what I mean? We started to see the flow turn. And then Lucci who was shorting all the way up to that, started seeing on the tape sellers disappear, basically just move out of the way. And he was shouting it out in the room, and that's what allowed us to really get aggressive, because not only was the flow, not only was sweeper activity telling us they were getting ready for a squeeze here, Lucci was seeing that on the tape as well. You know, and that creates those special, that was a huge squeeze that day. Huge. Gator saying, I think the Win 170 calls went from 2 to 17. Meanwhile, I was handcuffed underwater in oil. That sucks, right, Gator? Yeah. Listen, it happens. The good thing is it's behind you, and you make sure you're able to take advantage of the goods. I can't stress that enough. If you're handcuffed in junk and other stuff, it almost makes sense to unwind it if you got the real deal around. Oh, William Struck, what's up, Mr. William? 85% in cash now, Jay. Would it be smart to wait for? Without a doubt, you're in the driver's seat right now. You could get a little frustrated if this market pushes some more early next week. I would try to avoid letting that bother you. I think you're in mint condition right now, William. I think you're in mint condition. At the worst, if you do not get some sort of pull or rotation, just stay small. You know what I mean? Stay small. If it's getting to you, you're seeing some activity out there that you want to take advantage of. And, because here's the thing, too. You don't want to get hung up on the market too much, because what may happen is there may be rotation into names that didn't participate in the rally. And if you're staring at the market and what the market may be doing, you're not seeing some of the early signals of something major happening under the hood. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to the overall market unless you're playing the overall market. Like you mentioned, look for that rotation. And if you don't see the rotation and the flow is still in the hot names, I would, stay careful and light, which already. Had a great week it was a ridiculous week. And here's the beautiful thing about this. Again, when the market does this, it's tough when you're staying light because you got people high-fiving all around you, making money, and you feel like you're missing out and not taking full advantage. Okay? But when this happens and these guys got caught and now they're waiting for things to come back, you're able to fire at the sweet spots here. That's where by accident you catch some of these big winners. By accident. Where the ranges are so big, the volatility. I mean, look at this move. So instead of them worrying about missing out on this little melt up and running the risk of getting caught, because it's high risk up here, less risk down there of getting caught. You have the bullets to fire. So I would stress the same thing here. As good as the markets look, right? You got everyone screaming breakout right now. And it could be the case. But for you to swing the hammer again, William, you should be focused on another quality spot setting up. That may be via rotation or a breather. Boyd, that saw some action. Didn't do much. I would look for sweepers there, definitely. Boyd saw some action. Which day was it? Somewhere around here, right? I think it was in this range. Had a slow grind up, nothing really extravagant. I like this name. So if they got aggressive in this name, that would be a quality spot there, Ka. Nice name to keep an eye on. I think the action in this name, which I wasn't crazy about, it was in March. I think let me see. And if I'm not mistaken, they might have even closed them. Hold on. I might have it confused with something else, but let me see. But anyway, I would keep an eye on sweepers there. It's got a nice setup. Oh, come on. I swear to God, Twitter. You see every webinar, right? I can search all day long. Today is one of these days. I can't search anything. It's amazing. Every update they do, this happens. But I would definitely keep an eye on Boyd sweepers, Ka. ICE and CME, there was some small potatoes activity. Nothing major. Wow, they came back with a vengeance, huh? CME. Woof. My God, they came storming back. These names don't catch as much action as you would like. Usually small sweeps on the call side. Not as much action as you would like in those names, but they've been strong. Let me get to a couple of questions before we wrap up that I might have ran over. CRM, remember back when it jumped to 75 on the Microsoft buyout? Yeah, CRM has just been a magnet for flow. One of my favorite names. Oh, you know what is another good name? Workday. You guys trade this Workday much? This had a nice move too. Solid name. Yeah, Workday is a good one. IGT. You believe this, Bob? Earnings, right? A couple of people in the room. This was a nice trade. Don't get me wrong. You had this trade. They hit it here, and you had this grind to highs. Looked like it was ready to get out of control. The market pulled. Then you had some action coming back in here, and we were hoping for maybe a run up prior to earnings. She couldn't get out of her own way, and of course, earnings, bink. But IGT is a solid name. Now, yeah, now is a mover too. Look at that. Is that Red Hat moving? Oh my God! Look at these names, guys. What correction did we just have? What correction? This is insanity. Some of these things. No. You know what I mean? This is insanity. But I want to stress the good thing is there's a whole other market out there that's been neglected. A whole other market. That's good. Trust me. Because if the market's going to pull back and they're looking to put money somewhere, they got places. You know, remember January, we were concerned that everything was rallying together. So if the market wanted to correct, they could hit everything. Now it's different again. Now they have places to rotate into if they want to, because these things are nuts right now. And they may continue, but they're insane. Insane. Jeez. The majority of them, anyway. Melly, oh my God, I'm scared to look. Unbelievable, Maria. Unbelievable. See, but these things, like you guys, you guys are probably better trading these things than I am. I don't know what to do with these things when they're up here. You know what I mean? Like the only thing off flow where I feel I might have somewhat of an edge is, let's say Melly's down like this and sweepers come into that for that snapback trade that I keep telling you guys. You know, that's the only edge or flow, in my opinion, that you have up here. You know, if you're going to pull like this and they buy that, yeah. But these things are doing anything but pull. Like LRCX, what do you do with this now? How do you play this thing now? When over here was the initial activity, you had a secondary entry here. Now what do? You know, tough. How about Maria? You remember this? This is another example. Again, I'm biased, but where flow is just, it's incredible at times. MCHP, okay? We started to see flow in MCHP. And then there were rumors MCHP is buying MSCC. This is when it was just rumors, okay? Because if you remember, we were seeing flow in MSCC, all right? But then when the rumors, all of a sudden we started seeing flow in this thing, and then rumors circulated again. And I remember we're all talking saying, why are they buying this now and not the MSCC? If that's the rumor, it didn't make much sense there. And the aggressive activity was in this thing. And lo and behold, MSCC got bought out, stuck at 67 here. So they made a score on what they bought. They sold puts, they did everything. But the recent activity in MCHP, they look like geniuses now. Look at this. Came over here. Look at this. Amazing. That's what fascinates me. Amazing. And I hate bad mouthing like CNBC. I know a lot of people do it out there, but I've seen it all Friday. The show is called Options Activity. And they're talking about the Intel Avgo rumor. And they're saying, there hasn't been any flow that stands out that would have been a tell in the semi. Are they drunk? Are they drunk? The flow in semiconductors has been off the chain. There's rumors every day. ON saw activity and rumors started circulating that day on semiconductor. Every day there's 2-3 semis that see flow and catch chatter. The hell are they looking at over there? And the name of the show is Options Action. But yeah, these semis, here's another one, by the way. ON. Seeing some heavy activity. Rumors there. A lot of rumors. You know what's another spot that we were looking at? CRUS, some of the laggards. They've been nibbling at this thing. Nothing, not an order that stands out, but they built up the largest position of open interest and, started to elevate already a decent trade out of it. If you were looking for that, it was up $1 Friday. And listen, may go higher. It started to see that initially similar action in that STX way back when they started to do it around here. It looked like death. And now look at her now. In C, the only thing I saw there was puts, a large block of puts tied to stock in INCY. I like biotech action. I hope some biotech action comes in. Again, they're nice. If you're trading options and you're using that put in what you're willing to lose type strategy, biotechs are worth it because there's huge reward there. You know what I mean? Huge reward. So when you could catch some good looking sweepers, I remember we had a stretch where all the best looking action was coming into not even the blue chip biotechs, like the second, third tier biotechs. And this one. Do you guys know this name? Edit? This one caught some good looking sweeper activity. Good looking sweeper activity. Saw a little more action at the end of last week. Good looking name, this Edit. So again, this stuff to look for. I don't want to give the wrong impression. Sentiment is too hot, blah, blah, blah. Just where you got to be careful, in my opinion, is the obvious things. The things that Netflix is a runaway freight train. And you had which is amazing, right? You had this fade, this dip that allowed you the opportunity. Again, a lot of traders were looking for the short in this thing. And you had sweepers laying wood, laying big time money. Like you look at some, don't tell, I probably can't even dig it up, right? But some of the Netflix sweepers, look, I made the point with like CRM where they were buying the gap up. Let me get one in particular that I'll show you. Just a lot of action like this, but even better looking than that. 505, 360s, that's on March 5th. It doesn't let me go back. I can't take it anymore. But a lot of action like that, similar to that. These are in weeklies. That's, where they're paying 12, 14 bucks. Just good looking activity. Now she's cooked. Again, may head higher, but as far as off the flow, tough here. Tough. All right, guys. Anybody have any last questions? I apologize again if I skipped over you. It wasn't purposely. And that's kind of why, we're going to take this new approach. Again, I love doing it with all you guys, even you guys who aren't members. And I know off Twitter and all, we're still going to do it once a month. But every Saturday, we're going to do for members where I can focus more on the questions you guys have on particular names we're seeing flow and that sort of thing, strategy. So we're going to start doing that. And then we'll keep it once a month for everybody. And then maybe we'll have clusters where we do it. Probably starting next week, Tom. Most likely starting next week. All right. And then like maybe in the summer, we'll do, 2-3 week cluster open to everybody again. But the reason why I'm doing it is I want members, I want to be able to take more member questions, especially private Twitter, which I'm not talking to on a daily basis and stuff like that. The guys in the room, we talk nonstop. They hear it, my mouth more than enough. All right. UPS, there's been activity in UPS. You had that Warren Buffett chatter there, but there was some heavy duty. That didn't sound right. Hefty duty. There's been some size action. Ranchero saying no trannies. Ranchero he's very superstitious and has bad luck with the tranny names. So where's the big block here? There was a big block. How come it's not on here? I don't know. But there was activity when the Warren Buffett chatter surfaced. So that's why there's been an uptick in some activity there. But it's news related. I'm not crazy about that. So there's nothing I really hang in my hat on order wise. To confirm, no gold activity, minor activity, nothing of recent. I think gold, GLD, there was activity here. And I think, what was it, in weeklies? So they caught the gap up. But here's the problem with gold. I don't know if you caught, I tweeted a couple times on my personal Twitter. You got hedge funds are all in. Now, I don't know, I haven't looked in the last couple of days. But last I looked, hedge funds are up to their nostrils on the long side. So your upside is kind of capped. You know what I mean? Too many bulls there, believe it or not. So I got to look and see if there was a big change there. I'll post it if I see anything worth note. But yeah, I'm nothing crazy there. Nothing that really sticks out to me. Like you're always going to see some flow there, but nothing that has grabbed my eye. TLT, there's interesting flow in. Okay, I know maybe some of you aren't big fans of it. That's totally fine. If you're not, there's no reason to trade it. There's more than enough action out there. But this TLT, there's some buying there. Now, I told you guys last week, what I would look for is that machine gun Uzi type sweeper activity to come in. And that would signal to me that this thing is in play now. Okay, they've been buying with some time behind it, which makes sense, you know, in this consolidation down here. But she is trying to find a bottom. And if you see them start to get really aggressive, it doesn't even matter as far as strike is concerned to me. Just where they're tripping over themselves to own this thing. And in TLT, they do that. That's why I'm saying that. Similar like to the Micron, you know that Tepper sweeper exists. So wait for that. TLT, they're known to do that. And they can pile them up quick. You know, you see TLT sweeper, TLT sweeper, TLT sweeper. You see a little movement intraday, fizzles out, and then they come back for more. You know, and then before you know it, you see 3-4 lines just loaded up. So that's what I would keep an eye out for on the TLT if you're interested in this thing. You know, because listen, as bad as it looks, you know, they don't always go straight. They never go straight down. There's always some sort of squeeze, and that's what you would be playing for. Can TLT be used as protection for longs? The problem is you never know with these correlations. You know, I wouldn't hang my hat on anything that's just correlated at the time. It used to be that way. Then we see times they rally together. It's if you're going to put on protection, you know, you got to look towards SPY puts, Q puts, puts in the name, whatever, that sort of thing. If you're looking for disaster protection, you could go to the VIX, you know, but that's insurance protection type thing. You know what I mean? Not a little dip and you're going to be protected. That's if we have some panic attack like we just did. And by the way, you know, very shortly, you're going to have, you know, very soon people are going to start ignoring protecting again, right? They get all wrapped up, they get lured in to the long side, and you'll be able to put on some cheap insurance again. You know, so if this market continues higher and you want to remain long and you want to play a little, but you're a little too nervous, you're too long, as we like to say, you look for that disaster protection. So if they do catch them, it softens the blow. You know what I mean? It softens the blow and gives you ammo to fire into these panics. That's the beauty, the ammo into the panics. Because listen, trust me, they all don't storm back like this. If we end up in a bear market, this is not going to happen. But these little bear market rallies, they look little. You can make some big time money playing those. Big time money. When we get there, we'll go over it more, but you know, you get, like, for example, this low here, you get the Micron missiles, all the flow come into it, and you get that snapback rally to here. You can make some money trading there. The only problem is in a bear market, you're heading south again. You know? So there'll be opportunities, but you know, just a little bit different than what we're seeing here. And this market, that's what it's doing, guys. It's just molding everybody. Eventually, when the music stops, the sentiment that we see get all bearish on these drops won't be as bearish. And that's where they continue lower. All right, boys and girls, as always, thank you for coming out. Always a pleasure. Enjoy, get some relaxation this weekend. You guys deserve it. Made some nice money this week. And next week, like I said, just be a little more conservative, and we'll see where the money goes. Hopefully, we'll see some rotation. We'll have some excitement of that nature, you know. But again, enjoy the weekend. Thanks for coming out. Go to wallstreetjesus.com. You have any questions, and if you can, you know, take a peek at that Lucci course. If you trade options, you'll find it interesting. All right, guys, be good, everybody.